Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Young here and welcome to a post-live event Xbox One news update. I decided to wait for all the extra coverage after the conference, gather information, and compile it all in one video. I do recommend you watch my previous video in which I summarize and talk about everything revealed within the Xbox One event. Anyways, let's dive right into it. Let's first talk about new information from Geoff Keighley's behind-the-scenes coverage of Microsoft's press conference. Right after the conference ended, Geoff Keighley interviewed Don Mattrick from Microsoft, and when Don was asked whether the Xbox would require constant internet connection, the answer was a resounding no. He says that while internet connection will play a central role in the ecosystem that Microsoft is trying to establish with the Xbox One, it will not be mandatory to boot up the system, run certain apps, play music and video, and play single-player games. However, other Microsoft representatives have been saying otherwise. In an interview with Kotaku, Microsoft Vice President Phil Harrison says that at certain points, the console does require internet connection, and when asked how long players could go without internet before stopping them from accessing basic functionalities, he gave an estimation of 24 hours. In other words, we still don't really know what's the deal with this always online rumor. Microsoft's failure to address this rumor has simply caused more confusion amongst gamers and the press. Now, what's known for sure is that for the device to function, the Xbox One must be connected to the Kinect. For me personally, that second one is not that big of a deal, but the internet connection issue seriously needs to be addressed and clarified. Anyways, back to Geoff Keighley's coverage. He proceeds to go behind the scenes at Microsoft's Studio B, in which a lot of the development for the Xbox One and its various input devices occurs. Kinect is given a highlight with some impressive demos involving tracking ridiculous amounts of information and the camera's infrared vision feature. I've already read hands-on experiences from various websites, and all of them are pretty impressed with just how much more responsive and overall better this new Kinect is compared to its predecessor. As they say, this is what the Kinect should have been in the first place. Geoff Keighley then goes inside the section of the studio dealing with Xbox One's main controller. I've already provided a rundown in my previous video, but there's one feature that wasn't given too much detail at the press conference, and that's the extra rumble motors. The previous Xbox 360 controller only had 2 rumble motors on each side, but this new controller will feature 2 additional rumble motors right below the 2 triggers. I'm all up for vibrating triggers. The folks over at Microsoft informally refer to this system as HD Rumble. Various journalists have gotten their hands on the controller and its rumble features and have reported that the extra rumble motors add significant enhancements in feedback, which is good to hear, and overall the new controller has been well praised. Finally, with Geoff Keighley's behind the scenes, we get some new information about Xbox Live and its many enhancements. First and foremost, Microsoft guarantees a larger friends list, larger than 100, which has been one of the most highly demanded features for the Xbox 360. Another neat feature is the ability to display your real name rather than your gamer tag. Certain gamers prefer one over the other, and Microsoft is giving gamers choice. It is also revealed that the new Xbox Live will allow developers to modify and evolve trophies over time. This means that after developers release their game and collect data on what players enjoy most about their games, they can go ahead and add or modify trophies to suit players' enjoyment. Now, for those who are wondering, will I be able to transfer over things from my previous Xbox Live experience, such as gamerscore? According to Microsoft, players can carry over their gamerscore, gamertag, and avatar, but unfortunately cannot carry over their Xbox Live purchases. The one feature that actually costs the players money cannot be carried over. Unreal. Alright, enough of Geoff Keighley. The rest of this information comes from a variety of sources, from IGN to Kotaku to The Verge. One question that many people have is if the Xbox One is backwards compatible. The answer to that question is, unfortunately, a resounding no. Like the PlayStation 4, a different architecture simply does not make backwards compatibility possible. In other unfortunate news, various websites are beginning to report that the Xbox One will require game installations. This means that gamers won't be able to play their physical games on multiple consoles without paying a fee. So say you own 2 Xbox One consoles and want to use one game disc on each one, or say you want to go over to a friend's house and play your game on his Xbox One, or say you want to lend your game to said friend. Well, you can't without paying a fee. In order to install the game on another console, the full retail price must be paid. I seriously think Microsoft is shooting itself in the foot and hammering itself in the balls with this stupid move. What's more is that the Xbox One will only come with a 500GB non-replaceable hard drive, which is nothing these days when you consider that games are now over 1 or 2 dozen gigabytes, and God knows how big they will be in this new generation. At least players can expand storage through external USB hard drives, so that's a plus. Now, mandatory game installs do come with their advantages, such as the seamless integration of games with the ecosystem of the console, allowing them to boot, load, and run incredibly fast. We saw how fast it was to switch from games to other apps and back during the conference. It was pretty much instant. Furthermore, game installs will allow for Xbox One's pause and resume feature that will allow players to resume right where they left off when coming back from other applications, and even after the console is powered down to standby mode. Also, contrary to what many of you have heard, games installed can be accessed by multiple accounts within the same console if parental controls allow it. However, buying 2 consoles, say one for the parents and one for the kids, and purchasing one game for both systems will no longer be an option. To be honest, the cons outweigh the pros in my opinion. I find it ironic that Microsoft talks about simplifying everything, particularly when it comes to the living room and TV and whatnot, but for every news they share, there seems to be 10 different complications that follow. Did you know that all the Xbox TV stuff and jargon they showed off at the conference requires a separate device to function? That's right, their major selling point is not even part of the same box. What the fuck? And when it comes to gaming, they also seem to be complicating things further and further with things like mandatory game installations, which, apart from the complications I mentioned before regarding using the same disc and other consoles, will even complicate reselling used games. What will happen to the days in which one can just go to a store, or anyone with cash really, and say, here, let's strike a bargain? Now, while Microsoft is saying that reselling used games will be an option, they aren't revealing how exactly this will work yet. And what's up with current generation headsets not being compatible with the Xbox One? How can they even struggle to make headsets backwards compatible? It's just complications after complications, and their unwillingness to give us straight answers about all the negative rumors and press isn't helping matters. But yeah, that about sums up everything in terms of post-live event coverage. To be honest, the only thing that can save Microsoft at this point is if they blow us away at E3 2013 with games galore. Microsoft, I cannot emphasize this enough. When it comes to the Xbox brand, the gamers are your best friend. Appeal to them. Spending almost no time talking about games is not a great way to do that. I actually went back to watch Sony's conference when they revealed the PlayStation 4, and the difference was just night and day. Anyways, I haven't lost hope yet. I think Microsoft will be able to pull us back in with compelling software, and they still got time until the release of their console sometime this year. So fingers crossed. Let our nation know in the comments below your thoughts on the Xbox One. And to be further updated on the next generation of consoles, be sure to join the nation and subscribe to Young Gear. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and Young out.